croeso, Rhun. Thank you
Diolch yn
for
fawr.
coming to talk to us.
I've long been waiting for the invitation,
I'm
Harry.
sure. I'm sure.
No, it's great at all.
Generally, people are saying optimistic vibe. I think this conference. How have you found it?
I'm feeling the optimism definitely. There's a realization as well that this is serious. It's one thing to have hope and a wish that you can form the next government for Wales. It's something else to see that there's a real belief now that change is, well, we know we have to have that change, but that it's really possible. And when you have polls showing Plaid Cymru in the lead, people starting to think, oh my gosh, this is something that can be that change that we've long waited for. It gets people excited, but it also gets people really focused that we've got to get all our ducks in a row, and there's a feeling that things are really falling into place, and it's all about Wales and the future of Wales.
I know when we've been knocking doors in Wrexham, the thing that keeps on coming up time and time again, and you said it in your speech yesterday, people want hope. People want to see a bit of light at the end of the tunnel, and they want a plan. That's the key thing. They don't want to just hear nice, fluffy sound bites. They want to know, right, how are we going to turn things around? Yesterday you announced the child payment, which I think will make a massive difference to communities like mine in Wrexham, for instance.
I think you've nailed it there. People, I think, have got a more and more clear idea of what the values are that are important to us. And when we talk of things like fairness and equality and wanting to make sure that everybody's able to reach their potential and so on, people get that. But you're right, people want to know what would that actually mean in practice. And I've long supported the principle of having something like a child's direct payment. We've seen it happening in Scotland. We've seen it working. It deals directly with this thing, which is a national shame of child poverty and families trapped in this cost of living crisis. They were in poverty anyway, but it's become deeper. And we're saying, right, now we've worked it out. We're willing in government to put our money where our mouth is, and we can make a difference in power. It's a reason to vote for Plaid Cymru as a party that's brave enough to say this is a problem that we cannot ignore. We can't afford not to do it, so this is our plan.
And in Scotland is the only country in the UK where child poverty levels are set to decrease because of a very similar policy, isn't it? So this will make a difference.
And Labour don't even have a target for tackling child poverty. They used to. There was a target of eradicating child poverty, but they ditched it, years ago. We don't think that's acceptable. You have to have that target. Government has to know what it's working towards, and people need to know what government is working towards. Otherwise, they can't hold that government to account. And I promise you this, a Plaid Cymru government will be a government that wants to be held to account. We're accountable to the people of Wales. That's who we're there to serve. So if we're setting targets, we're saying we're going to try to do this. And it's not going to be easy. None of this is easy, but at least you know what we're trying to do. And this is how we're going to try to do it. Yeah.
Let's talk about Labour for a minute. Labour have had this pitch, haven't they? The Labour government in Cardiff, Labour government in London, things are going to look rosy for Wales. Could they do less than they're doing at the moment when it comes to Wales?
It's remarkable, isn't it? You go back to the period running up to the last UK general election, and listen, we knew we had to get rid of the UK Conservative government and the damage that they had caused over the years. But on that relationship between Wales and the UK, we were told that all those problems that we had in Wales would essentially be resolved when we had Labour working together in Cardiff and in London. And on pretty much every measure now, we're seeing that promise of a partnership in power, they've given it a name even, the partnership in power, it doesn't work. What you have is a partnership more interested in staying in power, and a Welsh Labour First Minister has to hold back. She doesn't want to embarrass her boss in London. She doesn't want to rock the boats with Keir Starmer. Why would she want to make him look bad by asking for too many things for Wales and not being given them? Well, what I'm saying is that leadership from Plaid Cymru would have a completely different approach to that. I'd want to be very professional and constructive in my relationship with the UK Prime Minister, but there would be no holding back for fear of rocking the boat. Wales is being held back by the current approach under Labour, and that can change with a change of tone, with a different leadership of Welsh Government.
And like perfect examples with the Crown Estate, HS2.
I'll go through them all. It's a long list. I listed some of them in my speech in the conference. HS2 is one where people have really understood. Clearly, there's an injustice there. They built this railway line, or are building this railway line in England. Fine, I believe in public transport. That's good. But because it was in England, Scotland and Northern Ireland got some extra cash. Hold on, it's in England. Wales didn't. It's a railway line that's meant to be for England and Wales. Now, people have understood that that's wrong, and we should be getting what's called a consequential, basically compensation, or our ability to invest in our railway. Labour's given up asking.
Yeah.
We won't. You make the case time and time again. Crown Estate, another one. We want to be able to use our natural resources to the benefit of Wales, creating jobs and creating investment in Wales. Fair funding formula. Labour's long agreed with us that there's something wrong in the way the Treasury shares out money throughout the UK. They used to call for this fair funding formula when the Tories were in power. Now that Labour in power, they've stopped asking. Funny
Gone
that.
quiet.
Funny that.
Yeah.
Well, we've been out interviewing people about HS2 and the Crown Estates in Wrexham and in Allen and Deeside, because that's the constituency we're paired with. And it's surprising. People know what's going on with HS2, but they don't even know what the Crown Estates are, let alone that there's even a discussion about devolving them.
And I've seen some of the films that you've made, and you see that realization in people's eyes, on their faces. Oh, really? Is that the situation? What? So our seabeds, we don't profit from that. That all goes to the Treasury, and some of it literally goes to the royal family still. It's our job, and it's really our duty, isn't it, to explain to Wales, Allen, Deeside, Wrexham, what's at stake here and what it is that we're trying to do. And you're right, they've got it on HS2. Plaid's been banging the drum on this for years, and the penny's dropped. Got to do the same on the Crown Estate.
Absolutely. We were chatting to Will Hayward earlier on, weren't we? And his bet is that you'll be the next First Minister of Wales.
Well, we know that it's on, and it's not about me being First Minister. I mean, it's true. It's a choice. It's a choice between Eluned Morgan being First Minister or me being First Minister. Don't think so much about me, but think about what that Plaid Cymru leadership, all of us working together, can achieve. Unlocking that, what we've been doing for a century as a party now, not settling for second best, pushing the agenda for Wales, insisting that we move forwards towards being the country that we know we can be. Having a Welsh government led by that kind of ambition can be really, really transformative, I've no doubt.
Having a Welsh government that just makes sure that Wales is a priority every single time. It's not much to ask for, is it?
No.
It shouldn't be.
These are no-brainers to us. And there's something fundamentally unhealthy also about having one party running Welsh government for so long. And as the leader of Plaid Cymru, I'll say this: when we come into power leading Welsh government, I don't expect it to be forever, because politics is about the rebirth of ideas, and you don't have that when you have one party in power for so long. So we need that change. And of course, we know there's another, kind of politics circling saying that they offer change. But it's not the kind of change that's going to do any good to Wales, is it? Reform aren't interested in pushing things forward for Wales. They see an opportunity to get some members in a Welsh Parliament that they're really ambivalent about at best, so that they can get some cash in their coffers to fight the next UK general election. Well, that doesn't really help us in Wales. They don't even have a leader in Wales. They don't have a vision. They don't have policies. They want to privatise the NHS. We know that, but what else do they stand for? We need a government where people know where they stand on that all those issues that are important to people.
And May 2026 is going to be that opportunity.
It really is, and it's just over a year away. It's coming at us at a heck of a rate. And what we're doing now is getting those ideas concrete in people's minds. The direct child payments, really, really important. We've talked about what we want to do around the NHS and in bringing down waiting times. The work that we've been doing on the economy, creating jobs, better wages, more hope for our children. Really, really good ideas. Bringing back a national development agency with teeth and with real ambition to create any prosperity in Wales. Getting all those done and a plan to implement them in government from May next year. I'm excited about it. What I want to do is get Wales excited about what that could mean.
Sounds good to me. Roll on 2026.
Right.
I'm looking forward to be spending a lot of time in Alun and Deeside and Wrexham and in the northeast of Wales, and you always get a very warm welcome there. So yeah, looking forward to being out on the stump.
Lovely. Diolch fawr.
Diolch, thank you both.